The heart of crime solving often lies in the little things left behind.
DNA, serology, the biology unit, we definitely play a very critical and important role in the entire process.
Things like blood and saliva
If a color change occurs, then that means blood is possibly present.
that can provide indisputable evidence linking a suspect back to the scene of a crime.
Most all of our samples come from either crime scenes or samples that we get off the victim's body from the medical examiner's office, clothing, just could be anything, but typically we get swabs.
Taylor Hall is a forensic scientist in the DNA serology lab.
Every time I come in here with a clear head, I do my best. I follow all of our protocols to make sure that I'm doing my job properly, and I just treat every case as if I would want someone to treat it for me.
She determines if samples brought to her are suitable for DNA analysis.
Blood is present, then we can get a DNA profile from that, and I will forward that to the DNA analyst to do tech work and DNA analysis on.
We actually sit the plate here,
Holly Porter
and it takes longer than what it looks like on TV.
is one of the many female analysts.
I actually receive the DNA most of the time, the sample, when it's in a nice cutting in a tube.
She begins by adding chemicals and separating DNA from the evidence.
We then make a lot of copies of that DNA, sort of like a photocopier, so that we can kind of ramp it up and we have more to work with.
Best case scenario, a nice single genetic profile.
All for different locations of DNA.
But that's rarely the case.
But we often get DNA samples that result in mixtures where we have DNA from more than one person. And so we have to do more work to try to tease out the information that we have there. And we may even have to use some of the softwares that are out, which you can kind of think of as genetic calculators, to assist us.
A suitable sample can be entered into CODIS, the National DNA Database, where hopefully they get a hit. And that can lead to a major break in a case.
That way you know your reagents are working.
It's objective evidence detectives rely on and juries can trust.
You see a lot more women in STEM fields in general.
And it's a female force driving the work in this lab.
Just being able to see other intelligent women who are into their careers and also who are able to have their personal lives and, kind of balance it and maintain, still maintain positivity while accomplishing their goals. It's very, very encouraging.
I just absolutely love it. I think it's a super interesting science.
Especially for young people like Annabelle Fry.
Every single case goes through every different unit, so you get to see all of the different aspects play together, and that's really cool.
Whose internship in the forensics department has opened her eyes to all the opportunities for women in STEM.
I don't want to say nurturing because that sounds so cliche, but they're really good about making sure that you see every part of the process.
And not to say men aren't doing the job as well.
It's a women-driven science.
Andrew Van Pelt is the unit's supervisor.
They're all extremely smart. They all have great experience and great educational background, and they're just always super professional and helpful to me every single day.
It's a level playing field where everyone is just doing their part to solve crime. In Baltimore, Maxine Stryker, Fox 45 News.